I'm here at Lymington Yacht Haven on a particularly sunny but cold March day. I'm here to test this boat behind me here. This is the new Nimbus T11. It's the flagship of their open walk-around range, and you can see just how large it actually is. It's over 12 meters or nearly 40 foot long, and if you look next to it, there's an Axopar 37, which is absolutely dwarfed by comparison. It's not just the length and the beam, it's also the freeboard. You can see just how tall these walk-around decks are. But let's go and take a closer look and really understand what makes this boat special. So here we are at the business end of the T11. You can see that this particular one is powered by a pair of Mercury V8 300 horsepower engines. You can actually fit up to 3 of these if you really want to go for it and make it a 50 knot boat, but we're hoping that 600 horsepower should be plenty. There's also the option of having inboard engines. And in this particular case, what's rather nice about that is you can of course specify diesel, so you can have up to a pair of 400 horsepower D6s. Now, I mentioned before the height of these decks and just how much freeboard it has on the water. You can see there's walk-around decks all the way around there, but you can also get a scale of just how high off the water that is. And there is a little step up and on if you want to jump over. There's a little bit of teak there to give you a bit of grip as you pop over. But also in comparison, let's look at that Axopar 37. Here it is next door, and it looks very slight by comparison. That's partly the fact that it is a lower boat, it's also a narrower boat, so again you can get a size of the scale of it from behind and then look across. It's instantly taller, and you can see it's a whole lot beamier too. So let's jump on board and take a closer look. So step onto these stern platforms, and the first thing you see is the sunbed. So we've got this set up in sunbed mode at the moment, but I'll also show you what else it can do. But let's first take a look around these decks. So here we are. It is a full walk around. There's that little step up. On the port side, there's access to the fresh water pump under these really nice stainless steel grates, and then up onto the foredeck, where you can see that unique squared off bow that the Nimbus like to do on this open range of boats. Really nice chunky sort of oval section cleats and really solid sturdy rails, and of course you've got that open bow if you want to nose up to a beach and step across. And if we look over there, you can see the anchor, through hull anchor, all ready to go. And then in the locker, again, some really nice details here. So there's a couple of clips with retainers on, so you can just hang your deck lines there. There's the electric winch itself, plenty of room for the chain right down in the locker. And then over on this side, there's another little shelf and stainless steel retainer, again if you want to stow extra lines in there. And of course you should be able to get a couple of fenders in there, no problem. That's the electric windlass up and down, and under here you can actually see, if we lift up this cushion, that's a little hatch, so you can actually lift that up just to throw bags down or give a bit of extra ventilation into the cabin down below. So we'll have a proper look at that in a minute. Just clip those back on, we don't want to be losing that at speed. And then the main sun pad itself, nice, plenty of space to stretch out, a couple of cup holders, and this rather nice seat here, which is just a nicely sort of relaxed spot. It's not quite a sunbed, but it gives you somewhere where you can hang out in the sun at anchor. You can imagine that's going to be a lovely spot to sit. Again, coming back down, these grab rails everywhere you go. Again, mid cleats here, and on this side another teak grate. And here you can see you've got 2 petrol tanks, you've got the wastewater, and on this side there's a small diesel tank. That's because even though it's got petrol outboards, it's got diesel heating for the interior. And then over here at the wet bar, you've got a proper, actually I think this is a gas ceramic hob rather than a diesel heater, so that diesel is purely for the heating, but Nice to know you've got heating and gas for the cooking, so you don't need to be plugged in all the time to shore power or have a generator. Good little sink. Drawer underneath, I think that's probably going to be your trash bin. You can put a little bag in there, keep all your waste. There's a big fridge here with a basket and separate drawers, so plenty of space to keep your drinks and food cool. Lots of storage. You can probably kit that up with your plates and cutlery, glasses, everything you need. But what's really nice is that that's so well located next to the main dinette area. I'll show you a little bit about this now. So first thing to notice, it's a really big table that opens up, and then I'm just going to go and set this up and show you what it looks like when it's in full dining mode. So there we've got it set up in the full dinette mode, and you can see that is a really good space. You could very easily fit 8, maybe 10 people around this. I'll sit there myself so you've got some idea of the scale, but you've got room for probably 3, 4 along this side, and at least 2 or 3 either side of me. Really good sociable area, proper space to sit down, enjoy your meal. You've all got room to put plates on the table, and of course you've got the wet bar right next to it, so everything very nice and convenient to hand. Plenty of room to move about, and there's the wet bar with the fridge and everything I've already showed you. But there's more. There is yet another setup for the seating, so give me a few minutes and I'll get that set up too. Actually, I'll go one better. Let's actually show you how it works. So if I ask my friend Aid here, he's gonna move it all around. So the table folds over. There's a little latch on the bottom of the seat. You can see him undo that. Then the whole seat swings round. And then the next step is the backrest goes over. That locks into place. And then the same again for this one. And that swings over, and there you now have 4 or 5 more forward facing seats. So 2 good rows there. You've still got that whole transom bench, the table's neatly out of the way, and of course up at the helm itself you've got 3 more forward facing seats, and these are the proper driver's seats. They're all fully bolstered and all of them slide in and out, so there's plenty of adjustability to make sure it fits you. On these passenger seats here there's a little fold down footrest. The driver has his own footrest. Obviously those bolsters all fold down too, and then you can tuck in at the helm and have a really comfortable, properly supportive, nice little grips around your hips. Really strong driving position. Let's have a look at the helm itself. So just fold those up. Got twin throttles, all glass bridge, really neat, really simple. You have got separate buttons for the items you want to use on a regular basis, and then 2 screens. For the moment we've got it set up with the engine controls on the starboard one and the full chart plotter on the port one. It has got a bow thruster down here which you just flick on and off, and then a normal bow thruster. But also this has been fitted with the Mercury joystick system, so you can see here that as soon as you go into neutral, this then becomes active and you can move it sideways, forward, backwards, and twist the knob to actually change the direction of the boat itself. And I've had a bit of a go, and actually inside a marina where it's not too windy, it works very nicely indeed. I managed to come alongside exactly as you wish. We did try it out in further out of the marina where the wind is a bit stronger, and it does ultimately struggle because you've got a 40-foot boat trying to be steered by 2 engines right at the back, and inevitably if the bow does get caught by the wind, it hasn't got enough turning power to correct it completely. But most of the time, once you're inside the marina with a bit of shelter, it does make berthing very easy indeed. You have got on this side the automatic zip weight control, so that will take care of both the pitch and the roll and the trim. Make sure that's all set perfectly. Couple of drinks holders here, a couple of drinks holders here. Nice non-reflective soft touch. Good size screen, so you should get plenty of protection from the wind. And this really sturdy T-top design, you can see just how thick the diameter of that is, so we'll hope that that's nice and secure. And there is, you can see the zip around the edge, so if you want to zip that off and provide more protection, you've got that option too. So we'll see how that works when we're out on the Solent, but I'm expecting a really nice sheltered helm position. There's one other thing I wanted to show you about this cockpit area, and that is this. A little button up here, press the 2, lifts this whole engine hatch, and you can see what a huge storage area there is down here. Now that is of course because if you go for the inboard stern drive option, you've got a couple of big D6 engines. But if you're using outboards like this one is, then you've got a vast storage area. So you could easily fit an inflatable tender down there, probably a couple of inflatable paddle boards, maybe a fold-up bike or two. It's an absolutely enormous storage area. And there is in fact another one under here, which might be a little bit harder for me to lift up, but if I can, I'll just give you an idea. There is another whole storage area there, so even if you do have the inboard engines, there is still a decent amount of storage and of course access to the fuel tanks. So as you can see, there is no shortage of storage on board, and in fact there is one other little area either side of here, right at the stern. There's a couple more lockers for fenders and lines at the aft end, so you've got that anchor locker forward and those at the stern. Very practical design. Now just before we go down, let me just show you that folds up and away. That's the footrest tucked away. On this side there's another little shelf there, bit more storage, and then down into the accommodation. Now the nice thing about having a slightly taller, beamier boat than that Axopar 37 is how much space you get down here. You can see there's alternate asymmetric steps to make a nice easy passage down there. Got all your breakers neatly by the companionway so that they're easy to get to. This at the moment has just been left as a storage locker, but you can have a second fridge down here if you need more cooling space. This too has been left as a sideboard in this boat, but I understand you can have an optional internal galley here too, so big storage there. Nice couple of drawers. The other thing to notice is how light it is down here. It's not overly fussy, they haven't trimmed everything, it's just sprayed out, but it's a very nice clean light finish. There's just enough natural light coming in through these windows. Nice neutral trim. There's a little curtain here so you can pull that across and have some privacy for the forward berth. But again, you can see you've got some whole windows either side, little mirror up in the front, and that's that hatch I showed you earlier. So that's where you can pop your bags through and get a bit of air in, or if you really need to jump in and out in a hurry, you can use that. The berth itself, there's not quite standing headroom here. It's probably about 5, 6, 7. You can see I'm 6 foot and I can't quite stand up, but it's not uncomfortable to get down here. And of course, when you're in bed itself, it really doesn't matter. A couple of little reading lights. And then if we turn and face this way, see small hooks on the wall. This is a nice Alcantara finish. And most importantly all, there is a proper separate heads compartment, and actually a pretty good size. It is a wet room rather than having a completely separate shower, but you can see that there is actually a little slide across screen, so that will slide across and keep all the shower in that corner. The loo, you can see, is tucked under there, so it does mean you can actually sit down on there and shower in comfort. Small basin over here and a bit of extra storage, and again there's a little bit more headroom here. This is probably just about 6 foot in here. You can see I can just about stand up, but it's really not much of a hardship, and it's really nice to have a proper separate heads compartment. And then there's one further surprise. There is in fact a mid cabin. Now again, there's enough room to stand, similar kind of 6 foot headroom just in the entrance here. There is a small seat, so you have got room at least to get changed at the foot of the bed here. There is a small, tiny little window giving some natural light, and then the berth itself, which is right under the cockpit, and you can see that's not a bad width. It's probably about 4 foot across, but there's really not a lot of headroom in here. This really is a crawl-in berth. But you know what? It does mean that if you have got a family, you can have the owner and the couple, the parents, up in that forward berth, and here you can easily get a couple of kids. And yeah, you can't sit up in bed, but if you're just going to crawl in and bed down for the night, it's perfectly doable. So there you have it. That's what the boat looks like on its berth. Now we just need to get out there and see how it performs. Well, we've just come back in from a really good day out on the water on this Nimbus T11, and I've got to say I'm really impressed by the boat. It works on so many levels. It's a really nice sociable day boat. There's that fantastic seating area where you can all sit round the table comfortably. There's a proper wet bar, makes up into a nice sun pad, or you can have all the seats facing forward for when you're underway. But it also delivers from a driving perspective. The helm itself is really well laid out. You've got the 3 very supportive seats. The hull seems to work extremely well. It's nice and efficient. It cruises very nicely, very comfortably at around about 30 knots, burning around 90 litres an hour, which if you work that out, you've got a 750 litre tank. That gives a really strong range of about 200 miles at that kind of speed. But also if you want to press on, it will comfortably do 40 knots. And the hull itself feels really good. It doesn't slam too much. It's nice and quiet. It just works on every level. It grips very nicely. If you want to have a bit of fun, you can turn really, really sharply. It doesn't feel like it's going to spin out. It doesn't feel like it's going to bite you. It's just a really nice, responsive boat. And of course, you've got that space down below for overnighting. You can sleep 2 couples very comfortably. There's a separate heads compartment. It's everything you need for a comfortable weekend boat. This particular one works out at just over 350,000 with all the kit on it you see here. So yeah, it's a big chunk of money, but it feels like a big, substantial boat. And I have to say, if you're looking for a proper weekend boat that you can have loads of people on, or if you want to go a bit further as a family, it's got that capacity. For me, the Nimbus T11 is the best of this new open Nimbus range.